Hey, Trev.
Hey.
So far, it is just you and me. Garth tried to jump on earlier, but he didn't have the bandwidth.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I threw up.
Harlan said he was busy tonight and wouldn't be able to make it, but wanted to try to make it next week, I think. Did you see Harlan on Dig?
No.
Harlan is on the front page of dig.com.
Oh, cool.
His face is there because of him and Jack and Augustin participating in Indie Web Camp. They did a little article on Indie Web Camp called
Oh, cool.
it's called "Meet the Hackers Who Want to Jailbreak the Internet." And he looks like a badass with his little black hoodie, and it's good stuff.
I don't see it. Oh, there it is.
Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming we're going to have more people jump in, but the basic structure that I'm trying to use is to have us, if you go to collaborativeinter.net, you can jump onto the Google Doc also, if you're not already there. There's a link for that Google Doc on the homepage. For right now, we can kind of cover anything that you want to chat about tonight and sort of map that out as a session, and then you and I can kind of just dive in and start chatting. And if somebody else comes, cool, we'll maybe open it up further. So I had written out a couple of things. One, building out the wiki as a possible session. Another one, I wanted to kind of dive into the subject of indexing in a federated web. Maybe this is our opportunity to kind of go through some of the filtered stuff or some of the things that are still, that I have flashes of clarity at times, and then other times I feel like, no, I'm not sure what that's going to look like.
Yeah. I want to talk about filtered, so.
Okay. Let me move the building.
Did I just lose you?
No. I think
I lost audio for a second.
Okay.
It's fine.
Oops. Yeah, let's dive into filtered. What do you want to, where should I start?
Where should you start? So when you think about what your future looks like, you have tools at your fingertips. And you've interpreted, I imagine, some of those tools looking like filtered. This is entirely my assumptions, right? Like, if I had filtered, I would be living in the future. That's how I feel about spaciousness.
Yeah.
It's how a lot of people imagine their products like, well, wow, the world would be different. I feel like I could just live my life easier if I made this.
Yeah.
And so somebody hands you a filtered device? What do you do with it?
So there's been, in my mind, there are a few different I guess user scenarios that I've thought about primarily. One is searching for content. Let me sort of start at the most synthesized view. The version of the web that I would like to see, the version of filtered that I would like to see, is that I scan a barcode or type in a search, and it pulls down and delivers these customized, synthesized search results. And that's all, I want to say automated, but that'll kind of sound wrong because there's a lot of probably hand-picked stuff that's gone on previously, like subscriptions that have been set up or remixes that have been made by me or by somebody that I'm subscribed to. But that's just drag and drop, and it's one button, cool. If I want to explore it deeper, I can, but that kind of gets into a different sort of use case, right? It's just a seamless migration to honing your search or changing your preferences or altering a subscription or creating content, remixing some formula or subscription or piece and actually creating, adding to that right there on the fly, amending it. But without diving into that kind of second use case of modifying preferences or subscriptions, the holy grail version for me is that it's that simple. That when you look up something, you pull down the information that's relevant to you from the sources you trust, covering the attributes that you care about, filtered the way you want it filtered, presented the way you want it presented. And
so it's kind of like Google then, in that, or any search, that you don't spend much time on it. You get what you want, and then you're spending your time
doing other things.
Yeah,
hanging out with your friends or whatever. That it's not where you hang out all the time necessarily, unless you're creating content or doing some of that other work, that other use case, which is sort of a deeper navigation of content. Like you could think of it as like looking at the raw data or actually crawling along the graph, running specific queries, or adding content. Those things. If I was doing work, maybe I was doing research in a specific area, like the law. I was pulling up all court cases that anyone has tagged as having to do with property seizure by a federal agency or something. I don't know. Some very specific sort of category. And I set out some ways to pull up all of that content, and but in the process of doing that, I'm kind of running searches, maybe pulling things down, refining my algorithm or my recipe or my series of steps in this recipe for conducting that search, and ways of filtering that information, whatever. And then I'm able to share that later on, but that it's only in that kind of context where you're doing this. I shouldn't say only in that context, but it's only sort of feeling like you're immersed in the system, doing some sort of heavy knowledge work when you're doing that. Not that you couldn't be leaving little trails everywhere you go and have the system sort of passively keeping track of your behavior, maybe comparing that with other users' behavior, and you guys have agreed to share that to help you navigate your way to better content without having to take some sort of active management role. That's possible as well. But that the goal is I guess my view on this is like, ideally it's a system that works, and most people do very little work, very little to no heavy lifting at all, and they just get information that's useful for them.
Yeah, until they want to say something, right?
Until they want to say something or tweak something, right? And that it's so easy to do that there's a very low barrier to entry to actually have a voice, to make an adjustment and say, hey, you know what, like, I really appreciated all the guidance on, how to vote this election cycle, but I don't like what this guy has to say about your cat is awesome. But I don't like what this guy has to say about I don't know, Obama or the healthcare law or whatever. And you can then amend that anything in that category, you basically want to discount this guy's opinion and not have it surface even. You don't want to hear content of that type. So that's kind of, I guess that I should probably take a step back and jump into the sort of 30,000 foot view real quick. The use cases that I'm interested in seeing are first and foremost that one of really easy search that delivers extremely relevant content, and not just where it is, but a synthesized version, a collection and an aggregation and a repackaging and a synthesis and a delivery of content in ways that are useful and perfectly sort of tuned to that user. I think it's been a while since I've talked about this stuff, but the way that I normally phrased it in the past was to provide information that was relevant, reliable, and readable for that person. It was relevant because it covered what they wanted it to cover. It was reliable because it came from sources that they trusted. Not that it was like objectively reliable, but it was from sources that they found reliable.
It's kind of like the personalization work that Google's been doing, except for that you do the personalization.
Yeah, that you're doing the personalization, but also that it's personalization of graph database navigation, right? So it's you being able.
But I mean, still, the user isn't really seeing the graph.
They could be. I mean, they're seeing the results of the graph. Like, so, if you go in and edit that stuff, yeah, you're going to be seeing the graph, right? Yeah. You're going to be saying, you're going to go in and say, hey, I don't trust all of these users. I want to only count users who have this attribute. Well, to do that, you've got to sort of tell it to go to this point in the search, which is, let's say, the comment. Let's say this is, I'm going to go back to a standard one, which is like comment on how good this Thai dish is, right? How good is the pad Thai? It goes to that comment, and anytime it finds one of those, it then goes from there and looks for a related attribute in the graph. Who was the author of that comment? It's from that author node that it looks for other attributes. Is this person a member of this foodie organization? Or do they like spicy food? Or whatever, right? But you're mapping out from that initial node what the pattern is that search will follow to pull down additional and filter additional information.
I wonder if you could get an edge on Google just by doing like a visualization of the algorithm. As if you somehow took a query and turned it into an algorithm, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't know. Well, there's there's a lot of different ways that that happens, but you compile an algorithm, and then you have built into the framework for search visualization primitives for every aspect of executing a query. And so so somebody says, like, tell me about Thai food in my neighborhood, and you like zoom through the graph, and you show them your neighborhood, and then you X out some stuff around it because that's out of bounds for some reason. Say, okay, I said some stuff, but walk right past that, and this person right here who lives 3 blocks down has the answer, and then you like have like a little bubble of text, float from them over to your screen or something like that. I don't know. I'm making it up, but
yeah. Well, and you had kind of mentioned
because that's the cool part, right? All the details that is taking into account. Okay, so you got an answer. Like, okay, all right, whatever. Why does that mean you're not gonna go to Google next time?
Sure. Yeah, you had asked about UI when we were chatting, I think, this morning.
Yeah.
And the initial user interface that I had for some of this stuff basically had to do with it was sort of a different take on the circle. I don't think it was circle packing, but like circle node, you've got like the center of your search, like the node that's at the center, and then you've got the circle of objects that surround that, and then the circle of objects that are attached to those that are a little further out. And that's kind of analogous, that sort of data visualization model is a little bit analogous to what I had originally mapped out. The way that I had structured it was you've got the entity that you're looking at. Let's say it's this pad thai dish. And then you have all the attributes all the entities that have a relationship with that dish. I had it sort of originally above or below, but let's say you have them around. But and the way that I had it structured was that you would have settings for determining what's closer to that node and what's farther, or what is hidden altogether. And those settings could have to do with subscriptions. It could have to do with usage. If lots of people have connected these things, or they have lots of subscriptions on these, lots of people are pulling up a subscription that's based on this. And so the stuff that gets used a lot ends up being sort of over towards the middle, or not middle, but it ends up closer to that node. But that's just a default structure. You want to snag that?
It's not for me.
Okay.
In fact, I'm gonna see if I can put on some Bluetooth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will he still hear me?
I'll go in the other room.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nobody's going to get to look at the cat anymore.
Okay.
Nope. Lost him. Can you hear me? I can't see you and I can't hear you. So that's probably not good.
Okay, can you see me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I've got a video for you.
Okay. I'm not
Alright,
yet seeing you.
got it.
It's okay. Oh, there you are. And you've got things coming out of your head.
Yes. The neural interface for my tablet.
A neural interface. Sweet. So basically, the long story short, I'm making this all super long, but it was that the determination of what's considered most proximate or most important to that node, those types of settings the user has control over. The defaults are probably things like number of subscriptions, common usage, or whatever, counting all users, but you could reset those so that you say, hey, I want to base it on some subset of users, or only from this specific set of entities, right? So there's any number of ways that they can control that, and that others could subscribe to that sort of method for determining what would get presented when you're looking at the graph. The long and the short of it is, you're on a node, there are other nodes around it. If you select another node, that you could just traverse to that node and now have that become the middle, or you could sort of lock down those two, and what ends up happening is the set of entities that surround this would no longer include things that don't include both of those with that specific relationship, right? So you've just created a compound entity. You do a couple more of these, and pretty quickly there's going to be very few instances that have all of that, right? You'll go from, like, I don't know, potentially millions of different entities that surround this thing, at least in theory, though they might not necessarily be visually represented on the screen, to a more constrained field, but all of which contains this specific relationship set.
Yeah. Let's spend a little bit of time in Neo4j together sometime later and build a sample of information that could be filtered.
I like that.
And then we can see, like, you know, you've got real pieces of data. You can say you would actually select these two in a certain use case, and then what would happen to the rest of it.
Mm-hmm. I got a question for you. Do you feel like Neo4j is, though it's not perfect, is that the place that I should start? Should I really try to hone my chops with using and, like, yeah, working with Neo4j? No?
No. I mean, yes to the first question, no to the second question. It's the place you should start. You shouldn't spend a lot of time honing your chops.
Okay.
I can show you the basics in 10 minutes.
Okay.
And it'll be all you need to know to do data entry.
Okay. Cool. I would like to do that.
All right.
So I guess I've gotten down a couple of, not tangents, but I've gone more in depth in spots than I probably, not than I should, but I'm going to try to back out a little bit. So you've got basic search, like, hey, cool, I'm pulling this up and I'm going to get a synthesized view. You have a more detailed navigation of the graph, where maybe you are creating some, you're looking for pieces and also possibly writing recipes that essentially is a little function or file that tells it what to look for, how to pull that down, what to do next. You know, it's just a set of instructions. You have publishing those instructions so that other people can subscribe to them and find them. You have subscribing to a set of instructions like that, or a set of recipes. And then maybe determining what the context is that you want that, where you want that set of instructions to get used. So, cool, I love this function that Travis put together, but I only want to use it for candy bars. You know, it could be used in these other contexts as well. I want to use it in this one, and I want to combine it with this other piece. I want to have Travis.
Are you thinking that's because it's context specific, or because there's privacy constraints on it, or both?
It could be that it's context specific. It could be privacy constraints, but for me, it all comes down to user control. It comes down to wanting to enable that individual user to be able to use that code in ways that it wasn't initially anticipated being used in, right? And so, like, assuming that there's permission to do that, there's permission to remix it in that way, right? Like, that the author of that little, I don't know, recipe for pulling down the average rating for how good the pad thai was, or let's say how spicy the pad thai was. The author of that recipe says, yeah, I don't care, you're welcome to remix this. And you go ahead and say, cool, I want to use that, but I only want to use it for pad thai. Or maybe you remix it and you strip out some pad thai piece and you say, cool, I want to use this basic shell, which said look up. It would basically say look for how spicy is this metric, right? Pull down all comments of that type, and then average those comments. And they wipe away a constraint that you had initially had, that this was only for pad thai, right? And make it more general than you might have initially envisioned it, and they use it in some other context. Or maybe they replace that constraint with something else. Like, I don't want it just for pad thai, I want it for other dishes.
Yeah, so the aspect here is of modularity. Like, if you could rip out the pad thai-ness of something, and imagining that was just a single node, or as close to a single node as possible.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think I actually need to continue to do other things this evening.
Okay. I feel like I'm being abandoned. No, I'm kidding. The last of that is that basically yes, it's modular, but you could move out pad thai, you could move out spicy, you could move a whole branch of that and take that and cobble it together with something else. That all has to kind of, that's one piece. It also has to have some of the things that you and I have talked about before with ontologies that you might be subscribed to, right? So that you could have, in some of those ontologies, you're going to have things like classes defined and members of those classes defined. You know, so you've got a subscription that says pad thai. According to me, pad thai is a member of the class Thai food or Thai dishes or whatever, and that's a member of, and that is a member of the class food. Okay.
So one thing I'm thinking about here is I forget where it came from. There was a webcomic somewhere once about how developers sometimes write their software for like a superhuman class of, you know, ultra warriors or, you know, ultra geeks or something.
Yeah.
Like, how much are people going to understand library science and ontologies and
Totally.
modularity?
No, I completely agree. But I think if you don't build that, if you don't have that in, like my goal is to have the vast majority of people piggybacking on the structures that some of those super users that are complete library science geeks, that they've built those structures, and that people get routed to the good structures, and they don't have to do that work themselves. They're able to just, hey, here's the template that you use, you drag and drop this piece here. You want to change it from pad Thai to any Thai dish, you just click the change the food type or whatever, you know, that template is. But in order for that stuff,
yeah, so you have UIs or apps, so to speak, you know, that expose functionality as needed.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so without going too far and keeping you all night long, that's some of the basics.
Yeah.
Because I don't think, if you don't have that modularity and that power behind the scenes, I don't think it works. Like it doesn't end up being self-regulating and all that, all the stuff that I'm trying to get it to be, because you don't have the flexibility for people to realize, oh shit, we did it wrong. Let's go tweak it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I bid thee adieu.
Thank you, sir.
When's next time? When are you leaving?
I'm leaving on the 30th. I'm flying to Bali. So the next meeting is a week from today. 7 o'clock, same time.
Oh, right. I knew that, actually.
And then I'll be flying to Bali on the 30th. I think I will be able to participate from Bali for the following meeting, which is going to be the following, probably Tuesday. I'll go back to Tuesday for that one. And then for the 3, I'd like, if you guys are keen, if we get it kind of ramped up and people are stoked, then we might have, I'd love this thing to be weekly, if people are interested in it being weekly. But I'm not going to be here for the next 3 weeks. I'm not going to be able to participate for the next 3 weeks because I will be on a boat without internet. So.
Well, that sounds awesome.
All right, buddy. I'll let you go.
All right. Talk to you
Say
later.
hi to everybody for me.
Good night.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
If there is a viewer, which apparently we have one viewer on our YouTube channel. If there's a viewer, would love to have you to jump. I'd love to have you jump onto the actual Hangout. You can do that by clicking the link. It's on collaborativeinter.net, and that is that link is the middle of the 3 links. I think it's the one that says Hangout. Let me go back to the no other users in our Google Doc at the moment. We've got one person on the Hangout live feed. I have no idea who that is. Okay. Anybody else viewing? Anybody? We had one viewer. We lost one viewer. All right, we're going to end